Yo, hey guys, Ken Perryman here, and I am back again with another BougeRV product. I say another because I've done quite a few of theirs, and really good products. I've done their solar panels, I've done their in-camping air conditioning portable unit. I'm pointing at it because it's over there, you can't see it. But I will tell you this, I've done pretty nice with this guy. And you can see that there's a significant difference between this guy and this guy. So I've done and talked about this refrigerator, and this guy I took on a trip to Florida, which is about a 5-hour trip for me, and plugged into the car, and it did flawlessly. I mean, in fact, I actually set it too cold. It actually not froze, but it was getting frosty inside. But I'll tell you, the beverages inside in Florida were very cold, wonderfully cold. But this guy's not what we're talking about. Wonderful fridge, and love it. But now we have this guy right here. Oh, whoa, sorry about that. So I know I'm covering up myself, but it's the model, it's the CRD 4001. This thing is quite large. We'll go ahead and throw a couple of the specs probably running along here somewhere to show you what we got going on with the fridge. But here's the one thing I like is that while I'm pointing at this other fridge down here at the side, that is wonderfully capable of becoming very, very cold, like -4 degrees, I believe, or -7, I believe. And, you know, it can get up to about 60 something, so a slight chill, going from a wide gamut, but it's one compartment. One compartment can be set to whatever temperature, and it works great, and it's a large compartment. But here's the thing. We now have this compartment, and we have this compartment. Now, I'm blocking my face, of course, and I want to show you, we'll switch over to another camera over here, and you'll see that we've got these larger section of compartments, and they can be set any way. And what I mean by any way is this can be, most likely would be a freezer where you would keep a couple small items in there. And again, I'm thinking more towards the idea of camping. So most of your stuff is going to be refrigerated. Your eggs and your cheeses and maybe you're going to keep some lettuce up top or something. Anything that needs to stay cool but not frozen, meats and all that kind of stuff, going to be in here. And then over here might be something that you want to keep frozen. Who knows? Maybe you got some popsicles in there for the kids. Maybe you got some frozen smoothie type stuff. Maybe you got a margarita mix in there. Who knows, right? But in here, and it will tell you the volume of the container will be basically replicated by this basket. Do you need the basket? No, you don't have to, but it makes it very simple when you have something to pull it in and take it out. So you can pull it out and go, hey, oh yeah, the frozen peas are down here, whatever, right? So let me show you this other compartment. Look at that thing, it's huge. Now it's more deep than it is wide, and volume-wise, it's got a huge amount of volume. So we'll snap a few photos, and let me do that now for you. Boom. Boom. And then let me move. I haven't even tested this yet, guys. We're going to check it out all together to see what's inside the box. But I also want to tell you something that I find really cool. And I discovered this while going through a bit of the manual, but check this out. I can lean this forward towards me, find this magic notch. There it is. Look at that. I can now take this and bring it over here, slide this corner in, slide this corner in, find the notch hole. Now I can go either direction to open, or I can keep them all the same direction by finding that notch position again, turning this around. You gotta find the notched position and look at that. Now I'm opening it from this direction, and now you can kind of see the white wall there. You're not looking at the back side. How cool is that? That is very cool. We're going to plug this in here in a few seconds, but I want to go over a couple other things. You got these great handles, and they are stout handles. They are, and be careful, they will snap back into place very easily and very quickly. You have your control panel over here, which we'll go over. You have a couple plug-ins down here, and then also, this is capable of running a battery in here. And let me scooch this over this way. Maybe we can see it. Yeah, you see this large hole? You can fit a battery in here. So you can make this thing run wirelessly if you wanted to for a period of time. But non-wirelessly, plugged in, you have what they say a DC, but it's actually, you know, it's AC current. It's your home 110 plug-in. We'll show you that here in more detail in a sec. Actually, let me show you the battery compartment. And then you have your three dudes here. USB. So you have a couple USBs. You have a solar panel connection. And then you have, they call it a DC, but it's your 110, you know, plug-in. I love that they've got, you can download the app over here. You have instructions on how to operate the refrigerator. And you have a glass bottle opener right there on the corner piece. Adding more to it, you can see, hopefully you can see, let me double check with you guys. Ooh, warm day in Georgia, huh? Wheels. All right, well, yeah, that's great. Yeah, it is, actually. If you push these forward to unlock it, you can then pull this all the way out to here, and now you have a portable refrigerator to get this to the ballpark, to the fields, to the campsite. And you do have also a medium set position here, and then you have the full locked position. And on the sides, you can see just a little bit, probably, is these little plastic hooks. And all these is because it has wheels and because it has the possibility of being a little bit heavy. And if you're going to use this in a vehicle like I'm going to for camping and whatnot, those are tie downs. You have them on all four corners of the device. So you can put your little latches on here, tie it down, keep it from shifting in the vehicle too much. Because as you can see here, it will scooch a bit. It does have a little foot down here. So, what do we got in this box? We're gonna open it up and see. All right. Now, we're going to talk about this. And we'll go ahead and file this where we need to. And model numbers, covers the model numbers, the 43 quart, the 52 quart, 61 quart. This is the 43 quart, I'm almost sure of it, which would be the CDR 240. And I think I even stated that in here on the lid, which is on the other side now, Ken. 40, yeah. So the 40, I think that stands for like 40 liter. Yeah, 43 quart or 40 liter, I believe. Nonetheless, this is the smaller of their bigger refrigerators. These things can get bigger from 43 quarts to 52 quarts to 61 quarts. So if you feel that for any reason what I'm showing you here is not quite the right size, there's options. There are options. Now, we're going to go ahead and there's a scan code right there that says scan for the app control. Let me check if I didn't already do that. So firstly, boop, let's go there. We're going to go to, it directs us to the Android store. It is a BougeRV app. You can see there I'm downloading it. Agree, allow. Okay, so please log in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and register account, your email. So now it's asking you to send an email to register your account. Then it's going to send a code. Let's see what's going on. Let's check the emails. Oh, let's see what somebody says on another. There is the email. Gonna copy that. Let's see if I can, enter code, enter password. I got a few seconds. So you don't just get the password, you also, or the code, you gotta get the password. Okay, so hi nickname. All right, that's cool. So this is the screenshot. We're going to add a device. But firstly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to power it on. And by powering it on, we have added more in the box. We have a power cord. So what's really cool is you have what we like to call the cigarette light adapter plug-in, which I can do. And I'm looking down here, what I have is a large, they call them solar chargers back in the day. I say back in the day, about a year ago, but they're now just big giant batteries, right? You know what I'm talking about? That can run for hours depending on what you plug into it. So I have this and we have this. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and do what we plan to do and plug this in to our battery, which will be fine. It should run this for a while because I think we're gonna run at about 45 watts maybe. So down here in this connection, this only goes in one way. I'm gonna plug this in to the battery down here. I'm going to turn this on, sitting at 72% on this big 2500 watt hour battery. And now I'm gonna turn on the AC. Let's go ahead and turn this. Oh, it already turned on all by itself. Oh, wow. Max Eco Light, it turned on. Let's turn on the power. Wow, okay, so L and S, large and small. If you can see that down here, that's large and small is what that stands for. So 82 and 81, we're in max mode, and I think Eco will turn green. So what I'm going to do, I can feel it running. What are we running at, guys? About 42 watts. I wasn't lying there. Sweet. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna firstly bring this down to, oh wow, it goes quickly, to 25. Let's just, so they usually recommend on a regular refrigerator, maybe 36 degrees, okay? And then this guy, let's just call it a freezer. I'm gonna bring it down to 30. And then it switches back to what the temperature is in the refrigerator. I love that. So let's go ahead and add a device, allow, oh wow, it found it. And it beeped, new equipment, cool. Oh, wow, so there's videos. So the series of operational video, that's fine. I'm gonna go back to home. I'm gonna connect to this guy, and then well, you guys can see on the screen. So tap to try a quick set of fridge temperature. So we gotta turn on. We gotta set it Fahrenheit. It's currently set at, 37 degrees. It shows that its temperature is set at 37. Let me drop it to 36. Yeah, it showed on the screen, and it did show on this. So and we're in max mode, so we're gonna see how quickly this will charge, how quickly it'll drop down to the temperature. It says the battery's fully charged. That's if it had a battery, so I'm running direct power, so of course it shows the battery's pretty close to fully charged. It's running at 14.4 volts, which is converted because it's running through AC. I'm currently running at 39 watts output, which means that this thing will run for about 19 hours if I continue to run at that pace. So y'all can see the app that I'm talking about. Let me see. Wouldn't it be crazy if it showed that it was open? Oh, wow. You cannot see it on the camera, I don't think. But there is a light. Very nice. And, yeah, you can see from the other side of the camera, I think, right? Yes, you can. So there's the exact same style of light, but it's on this side facing inwards in this direction. Okay, we're not doing it any favors by trying to open this. Okay, and that is the sensor. So let's keep that closed. I'm gonna let it run, and we'll come back and tell you guys what we found temperature-wise. Before we do that, and while we're talking just a little bit more about it, what I wanted to also let you know is when you get this refrigerator, and I did this, I actually let it sit for a handful of days. When you first get this refrigerator, be careful because it's packaged very well. I took it out of the box, it's done a beautiful job. There's no damage to this. There was actually, something had banged the box and actually broke the surface of the box, but because it was packaged so well, where it was broken and protruded into had no damage to the refrigerator at all. None. And in fact, I think it was somewhere right around here. And it had popped through the package and the cardboard had pushed in, but it did not damage this at all. And this is really good texture plastic. Love the ventilation for the refrigeration unit. And it takes up mostly right in here. That's why this fridge or freezer portion is so shallow, because there's the unit. Then you have this fridge goes all the way in. Oh, already 79 degrees in the large side, 82 still on the other side. While this is all made up of externally plastic, it's got a great little design to it. I do apologize, I'm a little bit sweaty out here, so I'm sweating on this a little bit, but yeah. Okay, it talks about using the battery, talks about using the car cigarette lighter, as we like to call it, which if I didn't show you, this is the other plug that comes with it, and it's got a little bit of length. The nice thing about this, and I've done this, really cool, which you can't see, I'm going to point to it, but it's right there. I have a Jeep Wrangler, 2024 Jeep Wrangler, and this is what's going to be traveling with me while I'm camping and doing overland type stuff with my Jeep. With all that being said, it has a power inverter in it. So I actually used this variant of the power instead of the cigarette lighter style, which is fine because this thing handles up to 10 amps. It's going to handle the wattage. There's no concerns. I just used the power because I actually put it's that fridge, not this fridge, in the back seat. There was 3 of us that went on a trip, so we had an extra seat, so I just put it in the back seat and left me with more room in the trunk area to put more stuff in. So all that aside, the fridge worked great just plugging into that power inverter. The only problem I ran into was, and it's not a problem, it's just what it was, is every time we'd stop and I'd turn off the Jeep, the fridge would turn off. Now, once it got to temperature, it maintained for a while. It would take the cycle on and off just a little bit to get there. So 30, 36, I mean, I'm really liking what's going on here. And I know I seem like I'm babbling, but I'm also very ecstatic about this. I will show you a install demo of this. I will tell you this, currently in my Jeep, I tried to install it in my Jeep. Not tried to, I did put it in my Jeep. But it is a bit of a tight fit. And more so, it's a bit too tight for my setup because I have a shelf on my tailgate. So on my tailgate, it actually bumps in to this handle. It actually bumps the handle. Yeah, because I put the wheels in. Which I shouldn't. I should put the nose in so that the controls are facing out the door so I can see them. But also behind that, I can turn it the other way because I can look over my seat. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is that these are very robust aluminum hinges, and they've got a spring built into them. This is just crazy strong. But they are your carry handles. They feel very, very strong in hand, and they feel very capable. But I don't want to mar these up, especially when I just have this. So when I close my gate, it actually bumps this handle, which means it's a perfect fit, right? Yeah, from front to back, and it fits underneath. I have another shelf, everything. The only problem, again, like I said, is that it just barely fits inside my Jeep. And I will show you probably some more photos and videos of the device itself, but, well, let me snap a photo of this side. And I don't know if I explained the warning to you. I probably got sidetracked like I normally do. And there is a tips on the fridge. I was going to point to it, but it focuses on my hand. And then, of course, you see that there's the name of the fridge also on the device. But the tips is saying is if I didn't say this, let me clearly say this now. When you first get this, it's going to be bounced around. It's going to be twisted and turned. There are concerns. If you ever purchase a refrigerator, because we all know you don't do every week or month or whatever, so you don't maybe know this, or maybe it's not fresh in your mind. But a refrigerator is built up of a process, and I won't get into it a lot, but basically it's a liquid that transfers, and it's actually more so a liquid that turns into a steam that turns back into a liquid depending on the state and the compressor and how it's moving heat from one area and replacing it with cold or vice versa, right? Taking the heat out of something such as this, taking the heat out of the compartment, blowing the heat out, and then allowing the cool to remain. All that aside, the transfer process or the switch from going to liquid to steam is a little bit delicate in these compressors. So if they get tousled around, if the fluid goes up the tubes and stays up there or gets stuck or whatever, it may cause a lock, an issue with the compressor, and it may damage and maybe even render it not usable. So what I strongly recommend is when you first get this, the first 6 to 8 hours, don't take this thing within the first 6 to 8 hours, plug it in and go to town. Set it down, be excited, look at it, clean it out, set it down, let it sit for about 8 hours-ish to ensure that all that fluid has made its way back down to where it's supposed to, and there's not going to be an issue of possibly starting up and having some damage. They always put those warnings in. I don't think I've ever seen a fridge fail because of this, but they're just being over an abundance of caution related to that, and I'm making way more than you need to. It's just a tip saying during the delivery, could jostle around, hold it down for about 8 to 12 hours. It says 12 hours before use, just to be sure. Just do that. Have a longer lasting fridge, because you're going to love something like this in the back of your car, moving around doing your camping thing, and even more so if you have this with some solar panels, which I have also from BougeRV. I have their 200-watt flexible solar panel. I'm looking at it right there, which I would love to bring in the Jeep and out to the campsites just to set up and run this all by itself. That would be awesome. And yeah, I mean, it only needs 45 watts. You don't even need that big of a panel. So let's go ahead and come back to this here in a little bit, and we'll see where we stand. But before we do, let me check the app. 68 degrees. This is still at 82. I think it's working, taking its time to get this cool. Or maybe it's going to work to get this down to temp and then it'll work on this one. Not sure. Not sure how this works out. CDR2, device name is CDR2, device number, battery protection, whatever. Okay. So, very simple, straightforward app. Nothing super advanced about it. I wonder if I'd plug in the air conditioning, would it work? But yeah, no, we're good there. So, all right, guys. So here we are. Let me go ahead and very quick show you the app. Let's get over to the app. It says it was offline. It's not offline. It's on. Okay. So let's go ahead and screen recorder. Let's go. And you don't need to see anything video-wise, but there it is. Boom. 32 and 43. So the big compartment's sitting at 43. Do you remember that this guy was rocking and talking and this guy was kind of sitting still for a minute? But then this guy hit 32. I actually think I told it to go to 30, but I wanted a 32. You don't need anything freezer-wise much beyond 32. Maybe we can do 31. Who knows? I don't know. But I'm going to tell you something. That is cold. That is really cold. I mean, yeah, you stick my hand in. Oh, it's cold. Yeah, it is. It's cold. It is quite cold. I'm impressed so far. I think I had the camera off for probably about 15 minutes. And that is very cold. Very cold. This is quite cold. So the small compartment is sitting at 32. Small compartment sitting at 32. Large compartment is at 42. I'm telling it to go to 36. It doesn't need to be much colder than that. It's working its way there. Of course, more so, it would get its way there if I didn't keep opening the dang doors. So you guys all know how that goes, right? You're not trying to air condition the neighborhood, as they jokingly say. So you don't leave your door open. You don't leave your door open. Blah, blah, blah. Funny, funny, funny. So there it is. I am going to go now that we've gotten this pretty close to temperature. I'm just going to go ahead and shut it off. I'm still sitting at 69% on my battery. I'm using 56 watts now, a little bit more wattage. Yeah, I'm ecstatic about this thing. I can't wait to get this going on trips, because while I love that guy and that was great, we had to be very picky on what we were putting in there. And most importantly, the biggest thing that we were picky about was the fact that we were just going to the beach. It wasn't like we were going camping. We weren't bringing our food and stuff like that. This guy, I can put food in. I can put a lot of our food, especially because most of the time, I'm going to be camping with just me and my wife. And we're going to enjoy camping together and eating and enjoying the beautiful days together out around the area here in Georgia. So I'm sitting out here and I'm just like, she's not going to enjoy this humidity. I might have to break out the air conditioning units. But yeah, no, it's I'm impressed with this so far. I was impressed with the original, the first BougeRV refrigerator that I got, which I think this was 21 to 21 liters maybe. So we get double the size basically out of this guy, and you could see it in there. One of the biggest things, I'll show you this. One of the biggest things that we like to get is we like getting these really tall bottles of water. They won't fit laying down or standing up in this little fridge down here. Oh, no, I lied. They will lay down in that fridge. It is that wide. And we could probably stack, if I looked at it properly, 3 deep, 3 high, maybe 4 high, and then I filled up that whole fridge. With this guy, I can take this with or without the basket. Like I said, you can get rid of the basket. It literally sits just above or just below the basket, the height of the basket itself. Let me show that to you. And I know I'm gonna be, the fridge is like, come on man, stop it, Ken. But check it out, see? The bottle is sitting just, the bottle is sitting just below the basket here. Oh, and that basket's a bit cold. And that basket sits just a little bit below this as well. Now, if I were to remove the basket, let me see, can I? Yes, that's how, there was a bit more room with the bottle in this fridge, in that other fridge down there. But this will fit this way and this way. Wow. Okay, let's get this basket back in. Oh, it is condensating. That's the other problem you have to worry about, is if you put too much, leave it open too long, it'll condensate inside. I mean, that's what it will do. All right, so it says it's continually going down to about 37. This guy's already at 32. Let's go ahead and do the last thing. I'm gonna pop it in the back of the Jeep and we'll see how that goes. So there is one bit of concern. Well, I say it's a bit of concern. It's a concern for me right now because of the fact that I've got my big 8-person tent in there. So the fridge is not gonna go all the way in this way. So we're gonna do what we should do, and you can see I got all this other stuff in there. We're gonna go ahead and walk it around here, and I'm just gonna put it in this way. Let's go. It's only a bit awkward. It's not super heavy, and I will strongly recommend do not put, maybe fill this up after you get it in, but in my case, I can't, right? Because I have to actually fill this up prior to putting it in, because if you can tell, I can't, well, one, wrong side, I can't open the lids very far. So, but let's go ahead and test just the fitment of it. Well, one, yeah, with the tent in the way, here's the back of the gate. So I can't fit it all the way in. Again, this is with the seats up. If it's just me and my wife, those seats are going down. This is probably riding on the back of that seat over there. Yeah, but let's just do this for, those wheels grip so well. But if you were putting it in and you needed it to get in, there it is. Fully seated in. Now it takes up a ton of your trunk space. So if you've got a lot of stuff, that's a big guy. But like I said, probably I'm gonna fold the back seat forward and I'll probably put it in the back seat. Yeah, or just set it in the back seat, not even fold it forward. Yeah, probably do that. All right, guys, this is a really cool fridge. I would tell you that if you're looking to keep your stuff cold, this guy's gonna work great for you. It'll hold the temperature pretty well. And I'm very impressed with how it works. So guys, I hope this was helpful for you. I do appreciate your time, and I'm out.